Good morning, folks. We're out here on Lake Garfield this morning. The weather's pretty cold, about 50 degrees this morning. There's a slight north wind. I think the fish are going to be a little lethargic for a little while longer. So I thought I would do a quick review on my new cart for my kayak. I got the Yak Attack Tow and Stow scupper cart. Now this is a little bit different than their bar cart and their other tow and stow carts because it is designed to go in the scupper holes on certain kayaks. Now Hobie is one of the brands that armors their scuppers because they have a scupper cart as well. The scuppers are designed to kind of hold the load of the kayak, not really the load of the kayak with all this gear on it. I'm on pretty steady ground today, so it should be fine. Now I have used this cart for the longest time. I think I've used this particular cart on about 10 different kayaks. This cart has been very good to me. Absolutely no complaints about it. It is falling apart a little bit. It's missing the cap on that arm right there, and the bungee for the retainer is about gone. All in all, for a 3+ year kayak cart, because I also bought it used, it's held up pretty well. There was a while there where they were coming with bad welds, and mine has stayed together pretty well. I wanted to get something, as my kayak ages, that is a little bit more supportive of the weight of the kayak, because these Hobies are known for cracking around the scuppers if you use the cart. It's not supposed to happen, and it would be warranted if it did happen, as long as you were using a Hobie cart. As my kayak ages and the warranty goes out, I wanted to get something a little steadier, so I opted for the Yak Attack cart. Again, this is the scupper tow and stow. So you can see there, it goes up through the scupper holes. But beyond that, it's pretty much the same cart as all the other Yak Attack Stow and Go carts. It's just that these little arms come up through the scupper holes. So why did I get this cart? Well, I've done mentioned I wanted something a little steadier, and you see there are some support arms that come out from the front and the back of the cart, and they have these little, almost like suction cup things that support the weight of the kayak from the front and the back. And that, to me, meant that there was a lot less torsion and a lot less weight on the actual scuppers and more on the support of those arms there. That made a lot more sense to me as far as the cart design goes, especially with these kayaks that can be fragile sometimes in particular areas. When you're turning and you're moving around the kayak on the cart, there's a lot of twist that can happen right here, and you don't want it going up through the scupper holes. So these arms kind of support that torsion and that weight and make it a lot less stressful on the scupper itself. So that's the main reason. The other reason is this thing is pretty beefy. When I cart my kayak, it's usually at a couple places where there's no launch, particularly for a kayak. There's no boat ramp or anything. So I cart my kayak to and from my truck down to the water. I do a lot of places that have steep banks, like headwaters at the kayak launcher. That's about a 30-degree or 45-degree dike, so it's pretty steep, and you need a pretty tough kayak. And this one did pretty well for the most part. But you'll see here, the cart wheels are wider as far as the footprint goes, and they're also a little bit bigger on the Yak Attack cart. And I think that did a little better the last time I used it at headwaters than this cart originally did. In that aspect, I was very pleased with it. The other aspect was unloading the kayak once I had it on the cart. Now normally with the Hobie cart, I would just have to pick it up and get it high enough that the cart fell out. That would be basically unloading it from the cart. Now this one, it has removable uprights. So let's put these keepers down. Just push them in, and then they're secure, just like that. And if I come down here, there is a little button, and I'll have to do this two-handed, but there's a little button here, and you push that button, and then you can pick up the entire post. And then you might be asking, well, what's supporting the kayak then? Well, it goes back to these little arms down here. They'll be holding the weight of the kayak, and they'll be holding it still. Now you can't move the cart or the kayak with those posts removed, but it does allow you to not have to pick it up that high whenever you want to unload it. And I'll demonstrate that here in a few minutes, but that's one of the main things that like caught my eye. I was like, oh, that's pretty neat. Now, there is a little bit of a caveat. Normally, whenever I launch my kayak, with a cart, I'll take it down to the ramp, I'll stick the nose of the kayak in the water, and then I'll pick up the rear end of the kayak and drop the cart. The cart almost always rolls down the ramp and gets in the water. The Yak Attack cart does not float. So keep that in mind if you are one of those people that also launch that way. This does not float. So you will need to attach something to it that does float, or attach a line to it that's attached to the kayak. Because I can see a scenario where if you're on a deep ramp or something, this thing just rolls down the ramp and is lost forever. This, on the other hand, did float, so that was a perk. Yak Attack is releasing some of the sand wheels that have the inflatable tires around them, and those would make the cart float at that point. But I don't like using those on concrete ramps because I'm always scared I'm going to tear them up or do something bad to them. So I would exclusively just use those on like the beach or something. Even if it doesn't float, that's not too bad. I think the most of the time that I'm going to use this is whenever I want to launch from the shore or in an area where there's a grass bank for me to launch my kayak from. So normally I just will launch it. I'll get to a flat spot near the bank. I'll take the post out and I'll get the cart out from under the kayak, and then I'll just push the kayak the rest of the way into the water. So that's not a big deal. And I've gone to starting to use my truck to launch from ramps now. So this is mostly just going to be used for those scenarios where I can't launch my kayak from a ramp, or I need to travel a ways before I launch it. But yeah, that is the Yak Attack tow and stow scupper cart. I'm very glad they came out with it, and I hope other Hobie owners find good value in it the way I have. Like other tow and stow carts, you can take the wheels off and all that other stuff to store it like in your truck or something. So it's very modular and you can take parts off of it and everything. A big plus of that is if a wheel breaks, you can contact Yak Attack. They'll probably just sell you a wheel, or if it's under warranty, they'll give you a new one. So Yak Attack's got amazing customer service. I've used it a few times and it's always worked out great for me. Well, I think that's enough yapping. Let's get this bad boy in the water, and I'll show you how I unload the cart. All right, so like I said, I like to get it down to near about where I want to launch. So I'm just going to push it off right here. There's grass and sand and some twigs and stuff, so it's not going to beat up my kayak too bad. So the next thing I need to do is come over here and reach under the cart. If I can find the button. And just yank the pole out. Come over here. I'm going to do the same thing on this side. And I forgot the buttons on the other side on this one. Okay. Put my paddle back before it runs off. Okay, so both poles are out now. We'll take them with us because they sink too if you fall on the ground, and I'll put them in a safe spot. So then all you do is you just come over here, pick the kayak up, move it to the side. And there you go. That's how you take the cart out. Come back over here. Now you gotta be careful with these horizontal supports here. They will just kind of pop out. So you just come back and grab your stub. There you go. It's back in the normal configuration and ready to go back. And then from there, you just push your kayak into the water and go fishing. Just show you guys how I store it in my truck. I take the wheels off, push this little button here on the side, and then I just throw them down on the floorboard, especially if they're real muddy. Okay. Dry wet them all over the back of my chair. And then I take the cart and I just stick it upside down like that, and it's good to go until I need it again. So there you have it. That's the review on the Yak Attack Stow & Go scupper cart. I'll have a link to the cart down in the description if you want to check it out for yourself. If you could, leave a like on this video and leave a comment. Let me know what you think of the cart. And as always, have a great day. Oh, that's not a crappie. Yes. Everything I own, all slimy and sticky and nasty. Well. Oh gosh. Goodbye. There we go. Got something. Little bass. There we go. Little teeny bass. Pretty little fella.